We're back.
We are back, guys.
Hello, everybody. It has been a long time coming. It's actually been well over a year since we've been able to do this. We've actually had the script ready to go for over a year now.
Yeah.
Things came up work-wise for me, and things had to pivot. So now I'm at a newer place now, and I'm loving every bit of it. So now that our mindset is in a much better place, we can now get back to these episodes because we have missed you guys, and we have missed doing the history of some of these great bourbon bottles like we're going to be doing today. You all know, many of you know what this bottle is, by the way. So there's a little bit of a hint there. So today we are going to be going over the history of Mr. Colonel Taylor. This one is going to be Colonel Taylor, or Colonel E.H. Taylor, sorry, E.H. Taylor. It's going to be his small batch. Get at the distillery at Buffalo Trace, about $45. How much did you pay here locally in town?
$67.
$67. All right. 6, 7.
No.
No. Okay.
Not for
Anyway,
the
so let's go ahead and start our story, if you will. So sorry, she's ridiculous. But I've grown over the years to love her ridiculousness.
Oh,
So
you're
I'm
so
go ahead and
kind to
pour us
me.
a little bit while we are getting our story started.
Yeah, because I got to tell you, we're both super fans of Colonel Taylor, so we're excited to do this one when life kind of caught up to us. Thank you so much for the ones that stuck with us, the new ones that are the new podcasters that are going to listen to us, I guess you could say. I don't know what.
Anyway, so she's rambling. Sorry.
I am.
All right. Imagine getting off work from a hard day, or imagine getting off from a hard day's work at your local factory or the mill, and all you want is your drink. You go to a local seller, not a store, sorry, she's jumping the gun here, but more of a dealer, if you will, and you purchase a bottle of what you expect to be your favorite brand of whiskey. You plan to have a good evening. You get to where you're going, you pop the cork, and the first taste that hits your tongue, it's not that. There's a difference. It's not a good difference. It's not a good difference at all. Now imagine how you would feel if you found out that the bottle you just bought actually contains ingredients such as turpentine, tobacco spit, and some rusty nails for some coloring.
Why would you put that in bourbon?
Can I finish this story?
I just want to know. Why would you put that in bourbon?
It's in the story. Anyway, you just got swindled by what they called a rectifier, not to be confused with a rectum. A rectifier was a person who purchased unaged spirits or undistilled and made it their own to sell to stores and consumers, which actually, by the time you get done with this story, they were rectums. They were. They could do this by mixing chemicals or blending several whiskeys together to create their own concoction. While the rectifiers made a lot of money off of fooling the American consumer started to lose faith in the distilleries. Therefore, distilleries started losing money. What was needed was a consistent product, whether in New York or in California. Although I don't know why I chose California for this portion of the story, because at this point in time, it wasn't really a thing. Then around 1870, the hero of our story, Mr. Edmund Taylor, comes riding in on his horse. Mr. Edmund Taylor, he's a wealthy banker. He purchased the Leestown Distillery.
Oh.
Yeah, Taylor was not actually a colonel, but apparently in Kentucky, if you do something great, you get promoted to colonel.
Hey. I mean, Kentucky people, they are known to be promoted to colonel without having a military background, right?
KFC.
KFC.
Now I want chicken.
Do
After the
chicken?
purchase, he upgraded the facility and changed the name to Old Fire Copper Distillery, or OFC. Taylor was very strict in how his product was made and always strove for excellence. In 1878, Taylor reluctantly had to sell his distillery to a Mr. George T. Stagg, another phenomenal man, due to his financial problems. Stagg, in turn, rehired Taylor to oversee the new purchase and was able to maintain that same level of excellence. The name of Stagg's new purchase was actually changed to George T. Stagg Distillery in 1904 and eventually became Buffalo Trace Distillery in 1994. If you ever get a chance to go to Buffalo Trace, which I know you have because I've taken you there, highly recommend going. I've been twice. She's been once.
Oh.
Yeah, because I'm better.
Mr.
Anyway,
Bigwig. He went without me.
Yes, I did. It was a fun trip. After regaining his financial footing, Taylor struck back out on his own and created the Old Taylor Distillery, which incorporated state of the art equipment and also state of the art technology. Besides being a distiller, Taylor was also a preservationist. He appreciated the history of architecture, buildings, and as well as the bourbon making process. True story. He did.
Oh,
Yeah, he did. He told me himself. His distillery became a
how
showpiece
old are you?
I'm old enough. I got gray in my mustache.
I mean, you do.
His distillery became a showpiece where he created his own brand, and he would eventually entertain guests at the distillery. At the time he was creating his showplace, he was actively preserving historic bourbon landmarks for the future.
I like preserving history,
I do too.
obviously, by the
So,
show.
yes, I'm married to history. So,
Clutch my pearls.
yes, clutch those pearls, baby girl. Through this meticulous attention to detail, his bourbon became one of the most sought after bourbons of its time. And it's actually still really highly sought after. It's very hard to find. But Taylor was not satisfied with his current accomplishments. No, no, no. He
Mm.
wanted more. He wanted
And
more.
as he should as a colonel.
Exactly. He's a colonel. He gets the best. He wanted consistency that the bottle you bought on the East Coast was the same as the bottle that you bought on the West Coast, which was still being found at that time.
I like these standards.
Yes, I like these standards too. Taylor created what became to be known as the Bottled and Bond Act of 1897, which brought in government control for product safety and quality. This tells you how important bourbon was at this time. Actually, still extremely important because it gets us through our day. The first federally regulated product was not just medicine or food, but it was actually bourbon whiskey. So if you're relatively new to bourbon whiskey, you're not. You're not new to anything. You are probably asking what bottled and bond actually is. I've been with her a while. I could say that. There's a list of set standards that Taylor created, and it was signed into effect by, at that time, President Grover Cleveland, 1897.
And who was Taylor related to?
I believe he was actually related to previous Zachary Taylor. I
Mm.
believe. There's rumor. I don't know if there's been any confirmation, but it's the only thing I can think of that President
All
Grover
in who you
Cleveland
know.
did. Exactly.
All in who you know.
So to be labeled as bottled and bond or bonded, the liquor must be product of one distillation season, January through June, or July to December, by one distiller at one distillery. It must have been aged in a federally bonded warehouse under U.S. government supervision for at least 4 years and bottled at 100 proof,
You're going to cause somebody to
50
have a seizure. Don't do that.
50% alcohol by volume. The bottled products label must identify the distillery, where it was distilled, and if different, where was it bottled at. That means that federal agents used to monitor the individual warehouses and that housed the bottled and bond, and they all had the keys to the individual rick houses. So that way they could check them. It was actually taken that serious at the time. So for once, go big government. I'm behind this one.
Mm.
So that has since changed. So we have actually done some tours of some distilleries, and they told us how it works now. They now, through modern technology, the federal government can monitor these same rick houses via security cameras with occasional check-ins by the federal agents coming like actually into the rick houses and looking around and inspecting everything. But it's still always monitored at this time by federal government. Another solution also came from Bottled and Bond Act for distillers. So this one actually involves a tax, your favorite thing to talk about. She'll go down the rabbit hole on taxes with you. When a distiller puts his or her whiskey into a barrel, they now owe the government an excise tax that was actually created by Congress to fund a war, and it just never went away.
Oh,
Shocker.
shocker.
A tax got started and just never stopped. So that meant the distiller had to pay the tax on whatever comes out of the still as soon as it came out of that still. The problem with this is what happens to the whiskey as it ages in the barrel, because they can't just sell the stuff right away. This is not a quick turnaround time product. It evaporates as the angels take their share at a rate of 5% a year, roughly, missing from the barrel. So if the distiller makes a 5-year-old bourbon, now the distiller owes 100% tax on 75% of a product. I did math,
I'm so proud
and
of
I
you.
got it right. I got it right. That's not my strong point.
We got to shame taxes,
Yes,
shame the government.
yes. But like other taxes, this tax
Change or
only
get back.
increased as time went on. Finally, the government offered the proposition and allowed the tax to be deferred for a period of 1 year. Count them, 1 year. Very gracious of them. If the whiskey was actually stored in an officially bonded warehouse. True story.
I like it.
True
Great
story.
story. Great story.
So
Stop it.
the Bottled and Bond Act officially changed the game, not just for bourbon, but for food products as a whole. The same issues of dishonesty and lack of transparency about what was in the bottles of bourbon they were actually having in other food products such as ketchup, mustard, stuff like that. So the Bottled and Bond Act was actually able to help get started. The act, some of the companies would use dangerous chemicals or they would use alternatives to sell as a well-known product that you as the customer would purchase, but then you would actually end up being fooled. You're expecting a certain level of expectation.
So are you saying thanks to bourbon, because bourbon made food safer at the time?
Yes. So the Bottled and Bond Act helped to foster the idea of better food inspection and regulations through the Pure Food and Drug Act, which actually came on 10 years after the Bottled and Bond Act. So this actually affected everything from bourbon to ketchup.
Love it.
So score one for bourbon. So
Little known fact.
Colonel,
Heinz made their ketchup bottle clear to show how pure it was.
that's a different podcast.
I'm telling
So
but
Colonel
it's a good
Taylor,
one.
that man right there, that man. Yeah. So if Colonel Taylor,
No.
he brought a superior product. He was a master of advertising. He helped create stricter rules and regulations for what we put in our bodies, and even created a label that his own competitors are proud to slap on their bottles, marking it as the best. If Kentucky had a Mount Rushmore, it is guaranteed that his face, that face right there, would be on it, probably around George Washington, Abe Lincoln, right around that area. So
I
anyway,
mean,
so because we are back, we're already planning our next episode. So we're going to talk about our next episode, and then we're going to get to the tasting. Next episode is going to be a fun one. It's one of my favorite stories. I know Tiffany likes it. It is actually, I'm titling it A Pharmacist, an Attorney, a Bootlegger, and a Murderer Walk into a Bar. You'll not be disappointed. I promise you, it's amazing, and it's one person. Anyway, let's go to the tasting. Tiffany?
it's amazing.
Yes.
We love it. It's a smooth sipper.
If you go to Buffalo Trace, they still have stories up there dedicated just to Taylor. They have a warehouse up there that is all Taylor products. They even have a series of bottles that they call Tornado Survivors, where it was all Colonel Taylor products being stored in this warehouse in the middle of Kentucky, and a tornado hit and tossed these barrels everywhere. They were able to salvage the barrels and pour it, and these Tornado Survivor bottles go for thousands of dollars.
It is a fun. Last time we went, free tour to do.
And then once you finish the tour, you actually get to go buy the products that they have available for that day. I think it's one purchase every 6 months. You're able to buy, like, say, they have this bottle of Colonel Taylor there on the shelf because they rotate it daily
Now,
what they have available.
I feel like we need to make it clear we were not paid to say this at all.
No.
But
Yeah.
Buffalo Trace, I mean,
Yes.
if you would like to, we do take
Donations.
donations.
We're broke.
Look, it's a smooth sipper. It's worth the price.
Yes.
It's one of the few drinks that I can honestly say that you actually get like a note of caramel in it. I'm not one that says, I taste leather in this, or I taste bootstrap, or whatever
And I don't know why we're tasting leather.
weird thing that people say that they taste in bourbon or whiskey.
Like, I taste tobacco.
Yeah,
I smoke pipes. I don't lick the
I'm
tobacco.
usually one that just says, hey, it's a smooth sipper, but this, like, you taste the sweetness, you taste the caramel. It's a good one.
Yes.
It's worth the price.
I love
It's
every
quality.
bit of this one.
They did homage to the name, honor, unlike our poor friend, Old Crow.
So, follow up to our last episode. I had 0 takers for the bottle. Even though I offered $5 for what was left of a very large bottle, I poured it down the drain, and then I got a bill from the water company for pouring it down the drain.
Yeah.
Apparently, it was a fine. It wasn't that good. It tainted the water. Pretty sure damaged our drain. So it hurt her feelings. So,
Um,
but anyway, it's phenomenal. Highly recommend it. Love Colonel Taylor.
for the ones that stuck with us, for the new ones to come, if you have a bourbon or a whiskey that
Give
you
it an
want us
Irish
to,
whiskey.
even an Irish whiskey, no Scotch.
Hello, Governor.
I'm sorry. We can't get past the taste, but
I like
we'll
Irish
research it.
whiskey. I like Irish whiskey. She's bougie. She likes 5 whiskeys.
I like Irish whiskey.
Scotch is different.
Scotch is different. Well, send us out the name. We'll do a little research. We'll see the history behind it for you. Send it out to us, okay?
And until next time, stay tasty.
Ew. Why did you say that?
Stay tasty.